Hello and welcome to our beginners bodyweight workout routine. Before we start today's session, there's a few props that you will need. Firstly, you will need a chair and you will need a yoga block. If you haven't got a yoga block, a firm pillow or a couple books would do. And also we will need a stick, a broomstick or a mop would be absolutely fine. To start with then, we will start with the warm-up to raise our body temperature, mobilise the joints and prepare the big muscle groups for the workout ahead. So our first position will be a modified child pose position. So I'd like you to start with your knees on the floor, shoulder blades pulled down with the arms fully extended, with the tailbone tucked between the legs, engaging your tummy muscles like I am here. From this start position, we are now going to push the hips back, lengthening the arms. Think about pushing the chair away from you. And you come back into position until you feel the stretch through the shoulders and the upper back. In this position, pull the belly button in, hold for a few seconds, and then simply rock forward to your start position. Here we will take a deep breath in through the nose, and as you push the hips back and lengthen the arms, we will breathe out as we find the stretch position and simply repeat. We're going to work for 5 repetitions. This next rep will be the third one. And 2 more repetitions here. And 1 more repetition for 5. And drive those hips back, push the chair away from you, lengthen those arms. And that's set. That's the first position complete. Now for our second position, if you can place your left hand here directly underneath your chest. The knees are roughly hip width apart, and you're going to place the right hand onto the back of the head. I would like you to align the shoulders to the floor, press your left arm into the ground, pushing the floor away from you, and rotate your torso looking to your right. Keep the hips as still as you can. Now realign your shoulders back to the ground. Again, take a deep breath in as you're looking at the ground, and breathe out as you rotate looking to your right. That's our second rep of 5, so another 3 repetitions here. And 2 more repetitions here. And 1 more rotation. And that's 5 reps. If you could prepare the opposite side now, so if we're going to have the right arm directly underneath your chest with the left hand onto the back of the head. Remember to keep those hips as still as you can. And rotate looking to your left with a breath out. And now breathe in as you square those shoulders back to the ground. Rep number 2. Remember to drive your right arm through the floor as if you're trying to push the floor away from you. This will give you more rotation through your spine. And then 1 more will give us 5 here. So 1 more repetition. And that completes the rotations there, the torso rotations. We're now going to mobilise and prepare the wrists. So if you could place your hands into this position here, with the wrist directly under the shoulders. Here I'd like you to press your arms into the floor, pull the belly button in, and make sure you keep your shoulder blades down like I am. From there, I would like you to slowly rock back and forth, and every time you rock back, I'd just like you to feel that stretch through your wrists. The stretch you need to feel is a moderate stretch, so don't overdo it at this point. On the next rep, can you hold the stretch and subtly just rock your body side to side like I am. We are then going to perform some rotations. Again, you can follow my lead for this one here. So I'm looking to find the stretch to the corners of the wrist. Can you rotate the opposite direction now? And slowly rock forward and come out of that position. The second position for our wrist mobility is to have the hands here. Again, Wrists under shoulders, press the floor away from you, shoulder blades pulled down and suck that belly button in. We want to maintain a neutral spine. This time I'd like you to rock forward, then rock back. Every time you rock forward, I'd like you to find the stretch through the wrists. Again, the stretch is moderate. On the next rep, can you hold it? And can you rock side to side like I am? And again, we are going to work some rotations, finding the corners of the wrist. Rotate one way, now rotate the opposite direction. And then slowly rock back and bring your hands off the floor. And finally now, could you place your hands into this position? I'd like you to have the wrist underneath the shoulders. Rotate the arms so the elbows are pointing towards you, okay? Shoulder blades pull down, suck the belly button in. And again, could you rock back until you feel the stretch and then rock forward. Again, keep it moderate. And now, could you hold the stretch? Now this one's a bit tricky. What I'd like you to do here, keeping your arms fully extended, is make a fist. And now spread your thumbs and your fingers back to the ground. Now make a fist. And then bring the fingers back to the ground and repeat one more repetition. Make a fist. Bring the fingers back to the ground. And can you slowly rock forward to come out of position. Take the hands off the ground, interlink the fingers, bring the forearms close together like I am. Can you roll the wrist now? This will feel very pleasant after working those stretches through the wrist. You can roll in one direction. Could you stop and now roll in the opposite direction like I am? And just shake those arms off there, okay? We're now going to mobilize and prepare the hips and the lower body. So we're going to start with a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So can you bring the left leg forward here like mine, so the left knee is over center of foot. Tilt the pelvis so the tailbone tucks underneath the spine between the legs, and you should feel a stretch here coming through the hip flexor. Keep the chin up, look forward. This is your start position. Can you now bring the hands to the floor like I am? Push the hips up to the ceiling, and can you straighten both legs until you feel the stretch here on the back of your left hamstring. From this position, can you bring the knee back, and the right knee back to the ground, extending the hip, so work that posterior tilt of the pelvis again, chin up looking forward, and find the stretch to the front of your right hip. And now we're going to perform the second rep here, so drive that tailbone to the ceiling, straighten both legs as much as you can, drop that knee back down and extend the hip. We're doing 5 repetitions here. This will be the third one. Breathe out at the top. Breathe in as you transition. And again, breathe out as you feel the stretch on the front of the head. Breath in as you transition to the top. And now breathe out as you feel the stretch on the hamstring. We've done 4 repetitions here, so one more. One more time. And return the knee back to the floor. And can you prepare the opposite side? So let's swap legs here. Let's have the right knee over center of right foot. Again, posterior tilt of the pelvis so the tailbone tucks between the legs. Feel the stretch to the front of the left hip. Head up, look forward. And from here, bring the hands to the floor. Drive the hips up to the ceiling like I am. Straighten both legs until you feel that stretch here on the right hamstring. Drop the knee back to the ground. Breathe out as you feel the stretch through the front of the hip. Breathe in as you transition to the top of the movement here. Breathing out, feeling the stretch on the hamstring. That's our third rep complete there, so 2 more. Now 1 more repetition. Extending the hip here. Straightening both legs as much as can you bring both knees back to the ground? Our fifth position here is a downward dog, so can you place the palms flat to the ground like I am? Drive the hips up to the ceiling. So your hips are into an anterior tilt this time, so you're driving your hips up, trying to flatten the back, straighten the back of the legs here so you feel the stretch through the back of the legs, and drive those palms into the floor. From here, can you bend your right knee and try and push your left heel a bit closer to the ground so you feel more stretch to the back of your left leg. And now can you swap? Can you straighten the right leg, bend the left knee, and repeat. Move slowly so you can coordinate a breath out on each repetition. Keep pushing your arms firmly into the floor, flattening the back, keeping your hips in an anterior tilt. This is rep number 7 of 10, so if you could do 3 more here. 2 more repetitions. And 1 more time. And bring the knees back to the floor. And now we're just going to do some muscle preparation now, ready for the workout here. So this is kind of phase 2 of the warm-up. This is where you will use your stick. So if you can place the stick behind your back with your palms forward, like I am here. And can you fully extend the arms? Think about your knuckles trying to reach the floor here. Hips into a posterior tilt, so take a look where my hips are. I can feel the squeeze on my butt cheeks, and I can feel my abdominals tighten up here. Keep the head up, look forward. From here, can you move the stick back behind you like I am until you feel the stretch to the front of the arm and the shoulder. When you feel it, can you hold it there? Squeeze your shoulder blades together and squeeze your triceps, the muscle groups on the back of the upper arm. Slowly lower the stick back to the start position and repeat. Can you breathe in as you hold the stick up like I am? And we breathe out as the stick returns to the start position. So breathe in here. And then breathe out. Breathe in, squeeze your triceps, squeeze your shoulder blades. And then breathe out. I'm just going to keep going here. I'm just going to move to the front here so you can see the demonstration from the front. This is rep 6 complete now of 10, so we're going to do 4 more. Keep an eye on your stick. Make sure the stick remains straight. You don't want the stick to tilt as you're moving. You want to fire both arms up the same. And 2 more repetitions. Keep those hips still, keep the head nice and still. You should definitely start to feel the muscles activating to the back of the arm and the upper back. And 1 more will give you 10 here. So 1 more repetition. And if you can place the stick to one side. This is where you will need your yoga block, okay, or your books. So can you place your butt cheeks onto your yoga block with your legs nice and straight, toes pointing forward, hands are here by the side of the legs. Can you see the angle of my hips here? I've encouraged my hips into what's called an anterior tilt. My back is in a neutral position. From here, I would like you to raise your left leg first. So raise your left leg up without leaning back. Keep your fingertips on the floor, squeezing your left thigh. Return the leg to the start position, and now to the right side. I'd like you to breathe in as you raise the leg. Hover and hold it, and then breathe out as you return the leg to the floor. Breathe in and hover, and then breathe out. We're going to do 10 repetitions. If you're keeping pace with me, we've currently done 6, so another 4 reps here. You should really start to feel those thighs firing up now. And then 2 more repetitions. And 1 more time. And that's the leg hovers there for 10 reps. To our final prep position now. This is called a swimmer's arm raise. So can you start with the arms behind your lower back here? So you can see that I'm placing the fingertips, the index fingers and the thumbs together here. I like your hips into a posterior tilt again with the head up looking forward. From there, could you move your arms back behind you with the palms facing the ground? You're very similar to that previous exercise we've done with the stick. You should feel the activation on the back of your arms. You should be squeezing the shoulder blades. From here, could you bring the arms up to a wide position here? So you make this wide position as I'm demonstrating. Now interlink the fingers behind your head. As you reach this position here, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bring the arms back to the Y, keep the squeeze on the shoulder blades, and then bring those arms back behind you, back to where we started with the hands behind the lower back. Touch the index fingers and the thumbs. That's one repetition. We're going to do 5 here, so could you flow with me now? So we just start to quicken the pace. Constantly keep that squeeze between the shoulder blades. Keep those hips nice and still, keep the head still looking forward, and that's 2 reps complete. Stay tempo with me now as we start to flow this exercise. So we start to increase the tempo. That's rep number 3. Now we're going for our 4th rep. It's a great exercise to activate the muscles to the upper back and the shoulders, as well as maintaining good mobility through the shoulders. And this is the 5th one, so we should be back to where we started here. Hold it there just for a few seconds, and then bring those arms out to the side. And that's our warm-up complete. So if you could take a breather for a few moments, and I'll be back with round number 1 very shortly. See you in a second. We are now ready for round number 1. At the start of each round, I will demonstrate 4 exercises. We are now ready for round number 1. At the start of each round, I will demonstrate the 4 exercises ahead. After the brief demonstration, we will then begin the round for proper at 45 seconds a set, with 15-second rest periods between each exercise for 2 loops. So for the first demonstration then, you will need your yoga block. And this is an exercise called a straddle leg hover. So I'm going to sit on top of the yoga block with the legs into a straddle position with the toes pointed forward. The width between my knees, roughly the length of the forearms. I'm going to place my fingertips each side of my left leg. I'm then going to lift the left leg off the ground without leaning back. I will then switch to the opposite side and perform the same exercise on my right leg. After we've done 45 seconds of straddle leg hovers, we will then perform the glute bridge. The glute bridge, you lie onto the back with the feet parallel, reach the fingertips toward the heels and drive the hips to the ceiling. Encourage a bit of a posterior tilt of the pelvis here with the glutes engaged. Slowly lower the butt cheeks to the floor and then push back up. Press the feet nice and hard into the ground. This is a great exercise to fire up those glutes. Once we've completed the second exercise, the glute bridge, we are now onto the Caesar squat. The Caesar squat, we're on the knees here with the hips into a posterior tilt. Squeezing your tummy muscles, squeezing your glutes. Slowly breathe in, lean back like I am until you feel the quads are working really hard here, and then simply return to your start position. And for our 4th position, we will move to the fire hydrant, where the wrists are under shoulders, pressing the arms hard into the floor, maintaining a neutral spine. Keep the hips square to the ground, and then I'm going to abduct my left leg directly to the side without rotating the hips. And repeat that left side only. And then for the next set, we will move to the right leg. So that's our 4 exercises. If you get yourself ready to start exercise number 1. Okay everyone, here we go. So we're going to raise up the left leg here. Slowly bring it down and repeat to the opposite side. Keep the leg fully extended. Try your best not to lean back. Keep watching the leg. Make sure it doesn't bend at the knee, and you should feel your thighs and your hip flexors really firing up. Breathe in as you raise the leg, and breathe out as the foot hits the floor. Breathe it in, and then breathe it out. Breathe it in, and breathe it out. Keep those toes pointed forward, and that's it, guys. That completes the first exercise. So yoga block to one side. If you could line your back here for the glute bridge, so feet parallel, fingertips reaching for the heels, drive the hips up to the ceiling, squeeze your glutes, keep your knees over center of foot, slowly lower your hips toward the ground, and then drive those hips back up to the ceiling, and repeat. Breathe in as you lower the hips, and breathe out as you push the hips to the ceiling. Keep those shoulder blades pulling down. Think about your fingertips reaching your heels. Maintain the arch in the foot, that's another tip. Push the heels hard into the floor, and your big toes, maintain the arch in the foot. And that's the glute bridge complete. We're now ready for the Caesar squat. So if you can pop up onto your knees, hips into the posterior tilt. So tilt the pelvis so the tailbone tucks between the legs. Arms in front, squeeze your tummy muscles, squeeze your glutes, slowly lean back as I am until you feel the quads here working really hard. Simply come back to the start position and repeat. You can see my feet are flat to the ground. Chin is tucked as well, so tuck the chin and keep looking forward. Breathe in as you lean back, and then breathe out as you come forward. And then breathe it in, challenge your range of motion, and then breathe it out. Harder than it looks, this one. This one really gets your thighs and your core working. And set. The fire hydrant coming next. So can you place the wrists directly under the shoulders? Neutral spine like I'm demonstrating here, knees under hips. Press your arms really hard into the floor. Abduct your left leg like I am. Hover the leg, squeeze the left glute. Slowly back down, do not let that left knee touch the floor again. And then abduct the left leg back out. So we're just staying on this left arm. Your arms should be fully extended. Press the arms very hard into the floor. You're going to have to engage your tummy muscles here as well. Try your best not to rotate the hips. You want to keep those hips nice and still as you move the left leg in isolation to the rest of the body. I like to breathe out as I abduct the leg here, and then breathe it in. From there, give your arms a breather, and prepare your right leg. I'm just going to turn this way now for the demonstration. So wrist under shoulders, squeeze your tummy muscles, back into a neutral position, and now abduct your right leg now. So the right leg moves out to the side like mine. Slowly bring it back down. Don't let it touch the floor. And repeat again. Breathe out as you abduct the leg. And then breathe it in. And then breathe it out. And breathe it in. Keep pressing those arms very hard into the ground. Keep those hips and shoulders square to the floor at all times. Your tummy muscles are working really hard here as well as your right glute. One more repetition. And set. Alright, we're going back to the Caesar squats now, okay? So feet flat to the ground like mine. Posterior tilt the pelvis, arms in front. Tuck your chin. Slowly lean back, breathe it in. And then breathe out as you come forward. Challenge your range of motion. I want you to feel the thighs working really, really hard in that finishing position. It's not just an exercise to strengthen your lower body and your core, it's a great exercise to improve your flexibility as well. Flexibility of your thighs and your hips. Harder than it looks, this one. It's a challenging exercise. And that's Caesar squats complete. Get ready for the glute bridge again. So can you lie on your back? Feet are roughly hip width apart. Feet are parallel. Drive the hips up to the ceiling. So start off at the top. Shoulders, legs pulling down. Fingertips reaching for the heels. Slowly lower the hips like I am. Drive the hips up to the ceiling. Hold it there. Squeeze your butt cheeks. And return back toward the floor. Drive the hips back up with a breath out. Back down with a breath in. Remember to maintain the arch in the foot. Keep the heel and big toe in contact with the floor. Press the feet very hard into the ground. One more repetition. And that brings us back to the straddled leg hovers. Now you can use your yoga block again, but if you would like to progress this one, take the yoga block away and go to the floor with your butt cheeks. It's a little bit harder. Remember, measure straddle, width of your forearms. Are you ready? I'm going to start with my right leg. Here we go. So it's a little bit harder with your butt cheeks on the floor. You can see I'm not leaning back. And I'm trying to lift my leg up as high as I can until I feel my quad and my hip flexors really fire up. As I lift the leg, I'm watching my knee. I do not want to bend my knee. And I want to keep my toes pointing forward as well. So point your toes forward. Breathe in as you lift the leg to create tension through the whole body. Breathe out as you transition. Well done there, excellent. So that's the first round, that's our lower body round. Take a breather for a couple of minutes, and I'll see you again very shortly for round number 2. We're now ready for round number 2. So again, I will briefly demonstrate the 4 exercises first. So exercise number 1 will be a push-up plank from the knees. So we're going to start in a front support position. So can you press your arms into the floor with your elbows pointing back to the wall behind you and into this front support position here. Squeeze your tummy muscles, squeeze your butt cheeks, hips into a posterior tilt, chin tucked so your head's in a neutral position like mine. From here, can you bring your knees down to the floor, drop your forearms onto the ground one at a time, and this brings you into a modified plank position on your knees. Keep pushing your forearms into the floor. Match my position here. Protracting your shoulder blades, squeezing your tummy muscles. Simply come back onto your hands, one arm at a time, here. Once you're into this fully extended arm position, pop back up to the front support position, okay? So that's exercise number 1, that's the modified push-up plank. Exercise number 2 is a prone T position. So the T position with the thumbs up will be wrists in line with the shoulder blades here. You should be retracting and squeezing your shoulder blades together, okay? We're going to do that from the floor, okay? So you're going to lie on your front in a prone position, pointing the toes back to the wall behind you, pulling the belly button in with the hips into a posterior tilt, with your nose just an inch off the ground. Arms out to the side with the thumbs up, and squeeze those shoulder blades together. So it's pretty simple. That's the prone T. That's exercise number 2. Exercise number 3 will be ballerina toes. So for the ballerina toes, we will pop up into this inverted position here with your shoulders covering your ears. You're looking back at your feet, hips into anterior tilt, flattening the back, and simply from here, keeping your arms straight, I'd like you to rock forward onto your tiptoes and then come back to the start position and repeat. So the ballerina toe is the third exercise. Exercise number 4 is a one arm raise into handcuffs. So you're going to be on all fours, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Neutral spine position, so pull the belly button in and set the shoulder blades down. You're going to raise your left arm up like I am with the thumb up facing the ceiling. The arm is then going to move back behind your lower back, simulating this handcuff position here before returning back to the start position. All the way back to the floor, and then continue with the same arm. So we will do the left arm for one set, and then we'll do the right arm for the second set. So we are now ready to start the second round. Okay, so we're in our front support position. Can you bring your knees to the floor? One forearm down at a time. Hold that plank position, squeeze your tummy muscles, push those forearms into the floor with the elbows under the shoulders. Back up onto the hands one at a time. Back to your front support position, hold it there for a couple of seconds and simply repeat. Bring the knees back down, onto those forearms. Hold the plank for a few seconds as I'm demonstrating. Back up onto the hands, then into your front support position. Really concentrate on your position, okay? So keep those hips in good line with the shoulders, keep your core activated, and set. That completes the first set. We're now ready for the prone T. So can you lie onto your front with your toes pointing back, hips into posterior tilt, pull the belly button in, arms out to the side, thumbs up. Your nose is just an inch off the floor. Now lift those arms off the ground, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and return the arms to the floor and repeat. Breathe out as you lift the arms and squeeze the shoulder blades, and then breathe in as you return the arms to tap the floor. Tip here is to keep your shoulder blades pulling down. Do not shrug your shoulders to your ears. You need to keep your shoulder blades pulled down, and you need to feel that squeeze between the shoulder blades. Think about squeezing a pound coin between the shoulder blades. Keep those thumbs up. Keep pulling your belly button in. Keep your nose just an inch off the floor. And set, guys. That completes the second set. Ballerina toe. That's the next one. Here's the third set coming up. So can you get your palms flat to the ground like mine? Hips up into anterior tilt. Cover the ears with the shoulders. Now onto the tiptoes. Keep looking at your feet. Now return to the start position. The stretch you may feel through the back of the legs, that's for free. That's a bonus. When you're going up onto your tiptoes, I want you to think of the hips moving up and over the top of your shoulders. Breathe out every time you're on your tiptoes. Then breathe it in. Keep pushing your arms into the floor. Keep your hips high. Really concentrate on your position. One more repetition. Now simply bring your knees to the floor. We're already on to our fourth exercise, so we're going to be on all fours here, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Pull your belly button in, maintain a neutral spine. Left arm first, and you lift the left arm up like I am. Bring the arm alongside the ear, thumb up. Into that handcuff position, so you're going to bring the left arm to the lower back. You're going to hold it there for a pause. Bring the arm back alongside the ear and back to the floor. As soon as it taps the floor, you're straight back up again. The right arm stays nice and strong. I want you to keep the shoulders and hips square to the ground at all times. Breathe out when it's behind your back. Then breathe in. And then breathe out as your hand hits the floor. And repeat. Finish the rep you're on like I am. Just come up onto your knees. Briefly rest your arms for a few seconds. We're going to prepare the right side, okay? I'm going to turn this way for the demonstration. So now the right arm goes up. and then it goes behind your back into that, simulate that handcuff position. You can listen to my breaths as well, so you know when to breathe. You want to breathe out when it's behind your lower back. Breathe in as you transition, and breathe out when your hand hits the floor, and then back. Remember to be strong through your left arm. Keep the hips and shoulders squared to the ground, so you need to engage your core throughout the set as well to maintain that neutral spine. You finish the rep you're on. And step. Shake those arms out. You've got ballerina toes again, okay? So get ready to get your hips up toward the ceiling. Okay? And here we go. So we go on to your tiptoes, breathing out, and then find the stretch, breathing in. We never want to see your ears at any point, so keep covering the ears with the shoulders. Keep looking at your toes. Keep pressing those arms very hard into the floor at all times. When you're coming up onto your tiptoes, think of the hips going over the top of the shoulders. So you load as much body weight onto the arms as you can. And knees to the floor. Again, shake those arms out. We've got prone T's now, so can you lie onto your front, point your toes back, pull your belly button in, hips into posterior tilt, nose an inch off the ground, thumbs up, and here we go. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and slowly lower the hands back to the start position. Breathe out as you squeeze the shoulder blades, breathe in as the arms come down. Remember to keep the shoulder blades pulling down away from the ears and squeeze that pound coin, that imaginary pound coin between your shoulder blades. Arms should be pretty much straight throughout the range. And set, that completes the prone T, and that brings us right back to where we started. So the modified kneeling plank, we're going to start from the front support position, so can you get yourself ready? So match my position, here's your front support shape. We drop the knees down, we come onto the forearms. Hold this plank position, back up onto your hands, back to your front support. You could experiment with which arm you lead with, so you could place the knees down, then maybe go with the left forearm down, and then press the left arm first, and then you could swap that to maybe the right arm this time, so you can switch which arm you use. That completes round number 2. Take a breather, and I'll be back with you shortly to demonstrate round number 3. Okay, we are ready for our third and final round. Again, I will briefly demonstrate the 4 movements ahead. So we will be starting with an exercise called a hollow hold. So if you can, we're going to lie on your back here. We're going to have the legs ideally straight like mine and the arms straight. Ribs down, chin tucked, lower back pressed hard into the floor. There should be no gap at any time underneath your lower back. Dependent on your strength here, you will lower the legs and the arms as close to the floor as you can without that lower back coming off the floor. And you're going to hold the position. You're going to squeeze your tummy muscles as hard as you can. So that's exercise 1. That's the hollow hold. Exercise number 2, I'm going to do an exercise called a toe tap. So this requires you to get into a front support position again, which is here. And from here, I'd like you to move your leg directly to the side, just one at a time, tap in the toe to the floor. keeping the hips nice and still, and that one will challenge the core and obliques, performing that one well. So that's exercise number 2. Exercise number 3, we're going to do a movement called pelvic tilt. That requires us to lie on our back again, bend the knees, bring the heels into the butt cheeks, arms up, keep your chin tucked. Tilt the pelvis so the pelvis moves toward the rib cage, the lower back presses into the floor, and we're going to lift the shoulders off the ground until we feel the squeeze on the tummy muscles. Slowly lower back down and repeat. So that's our 3rd position, that's the pelvic tilt. And finally, for the 4th exercise, we are going to do a modified side plank into clamshell. So the elbow here, my right elbow, will be set directly underneath the right shoulder. Straight line from my shoulder to my hip with my knees stacked on top of each other. Simply from here, pressing my knees and forearm into the floor. I'd like you to lift the hips as high as you can. Pull the belly button in, keep your shoulder pulled back. That's your side plank. You should feel these muscles here activating. These are your obliques. And then this is the clamshell here. So this is an exercise to activate your glute, abducting the top leg, in this case the left leg. And we will do the right side for 1 set, then we'll do the left side for the next set. So if you get ready to start round number 3. Okay then, hollow hold. So if we raise the legs and arms up nice and straight like me, slowly lower the legs and the arms until you feel the activation on your tummy muscles. Remember to keep your chin tucked, ribs down, lower back in contact with the floor, fully extending the elbow and the knee joints. If you're finding this one really hard already, watch your screen now. I'm going to make this easier by bringing my arms and legs up. That's an easier position, okay? If I lower the limbs back down, and now we're going to make this more challenging. That's tough now. Keep those ribs down. Push the lower back hard into the floor. And set going. That completes the first set. That's the hollow hold done. We'll now move into toe tapping. So front support position required here. Screw the hands into the floor with the elbows pointing back to the wall behind you. Press hard into the ground. So you're protracting your shoulder blades. Squeeze your tummy muscles. Hips encouraged into a posterior tilt. Keep your chin tucked. And now can you move your left leg out to the side like me. Bring it back and then swap to the right side. Breathe out as you move the leg. Then breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Keep pressing your arms really hard into the floor and concentrate on keeping your hips completely still. You want your hips square to the ground, so it's just the leg moving. And bring those knees back to the mat. Right, position number 3, pelvic tilts. So can you lie on your back, bring your heels in close to your backside, arms up straight to the ceiling, tuck your chin, tilt the pelvis, push the lower back into the floor, and lift those shoulders as high off the ground as I am. Slowly lower back down, and repeat. Breathe out at the top, breathe in at the bottom. Breathe out at the top, breathe in at the bottom. Breathe in through the nose if you can. Your arms, your chest should be going up in a straight line to the ceiling. You should feel your tummy muscles working really hard here. And that's the 3rd set complete. Can you get ready for the side plank with clamshell? Right elbow under right shoulder like me. Knees stacked on top of each other. Okay, lift the hips up nice and high. Straight line from the shoulder to the hip here. Pull the belly button in. And now we're going to progress to the clamshell. So abduct your top leg, your left leg. Use me as a guide for the tempo. You'll see that I hold the leg here. I'm squeezing my glute. before lowering back down. I've got my obliques under tension here. I can feel my obliques working because my hips are up nice and high. Your shoulder should feel good. The elbow should be underneath the shoulder. Breathe in as you lower the leg. Breathe out as you squeeze the glute. And that's the right side complete. So can you get ready for the left side now? Get the left elbow underneath the left shoulder. Knees stacked on top of each other. Again, create a straight line through your body. Lift those hips nice and high. When you're ready, can you abduct your top leg now, squeezing your glute, before lowering back down to the start position. Breathe out at the top when you raise the leg, and then breathe in as you lower the leg. Keep your shoulders pulled back. Keep pulling your belly button up and in, so you've got some good tension through your core. One more repetition. And set. We're returning back to the pelvic tilts now. So can you lie on your back? Chin tucked. Tilt the pelvis to the rib cage. Drive the lower back hard into the floor and lift those shoulders off the ground. Squeeze your tummy muscles. Slowly back down. Try and match my tempo, guys. Try and hold it at the top before you lower back down. Breathe out at the top. Breathe in at the bottom. Breathe out at the top. Breathe in at the bottom. Arms and chest should be going up in a straight line to the ceiling. Keep looking up at all times. You should feel those tummy muscles really working hard by now. One more repetition. Prepare the toe taps now. So we're going to spin over back into that front support position. So screw those hands into the floor. Elbows pointing back to the wall behind you. Press the arms into the floor really hard, protracting your shoulder blades. Bring your feet quite close together in this start position. Now tap that left toe out to the side like I am. And then to the right. Breathe out every rep. Keep squeezing your tummy muscles. Keep those hips in the posterior tilt, squeezing your glutes. It's very important that you keep your hips in a neutral position, or in this position, sorry. Keep pushing the floor away from you. Create tension through the core, so to activate your tummy muscles. One more rep. And that brings us right back to the hollow hold. Final set here for today's workout. So, limbs up toward the ceiling like mine. Point your toes forward. Fully extend the elbow and knee joints. Keep your chin tucked. Push your ribs into the floor. Push your lower back into the floor. Squeeze your tummy muscles. Hold position like I am. If you're finding it really hard, or you feel your lower back's coming off the ground, look, raise your legs back up like I am. This will make it easier. Obviously, the lower you go, the harder it will be. I'm going to demonstrate kind of my full range of movement now. Here I am. Now I'm really finding this challenging. My abdominals are really starting to kick in. I'm going to try and go to the end in this shape now. And holds. If you want to finish off strong then. Whew. Well done, guys. That's the 3 rounds complete. I'll be back very shortly with our cool down and stretching routine.